Associate yourself with men of good quality, if you esteem your own reputation, for 'tis better to be alone than in bad company. There can be no greater error than to expect or calculate upon real favors from nation to nation. Happiness depends more upon the internal frame of a person's own mind than on the externals in the world. I must study politics and war that my sons may have liberty to study mathematics and philosophy. You will ever remember that all the end of study is to make you a good man and a useful citizen. If conscience disapproves, the loudest applauses of the world are of little value. On matters of style, swim with the current; on matters of principle, stand like a rock. Ignorance is preferable to error, and he is less remote from the truth who believes nothing than he who believes what is wrong. It is neither wealth nor splendor, but tranquility and occupation which give you happiness. The advancement and diffusion of knowledge is the only guardian of true liberty. The circulation of confidence is better than the circulation of money. Liberty may be endangered by the abuse of liberty, but also by the abuse of power. In a representative republic, the education of our children must be of the utmost importance. The best form of government is that which is most likely to prevent the greatest sum of evil. Our country may be likened to a new house. We lack many things, but we possess the most precious of all, liberty. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more and become more, you are a leader. I would much rather be found guilty of making a serious mistake in judgment, than to be accused of being even a little bit insincere. It is my wish to fill every moment of my time with some action of the mind which may contribute to the pleasure or the improvement of my fellow creatures. Money is power, and in that government which pays all the public officers of the states will all political power be substantially concentrated. There is no pleasure in having nothing to do, the fun is having lots to do and not doing it. The people are the government, administering it by their agents; they are the government, the sovereign power. It is easier to do a job right than to explain why you didn't. The government should not be guided by temporary excitement, but by sober second thought. I tread in the footsteps of illustrious men, whose superiors it is our happiness to believe are not found on the executive calendar of any country. There is nothing more corrupting, nothing more destructive of the noblest and finest feelings of our nature, than the exercise of unlimited power. I tread in the footsteps of illustrious men, whose superiors it is our happiness to believe are not found on the executive calendar of any country. I cannot expect to perform the task with equal ability and success. I contend that the strongest of all governments is that which is most free. Wealth can only be accumulated by the earnings of industry and the savings of frugality. A republican government can only be supported by virtue. It is confidently believed that our system may be safely extended to the utmost bounds of our territorial limits. One great object of the Constitution was to restrain majorities from oppressing minorities or encroaching upon their just rights. Thank God, under our Constitution, there was no connection between church and state. I have no private purpose to accomplish, no party objectives to build up, no enemies to punish, nothing to serve but my country. I have always done my duty. I am ready to die. My only regret is for the friends I leave behind me. In the discharge of duties my guide will be the Constitution, which I this day swear to preserve, protect, and defend. Let us remember that revolutions do not always establish freedom. The ability to produce every necessity of life renders us independent in war as well as in peace. An honorable defeat is better than a dishonorable victory. Frequently, the more trifling the subject, the more animated and protracted the discussion. The dangers of a concentration of all power in the general government of a confederacy so vast as ours are too obvious to be disregarded. But let not the foundation of our hope rest upon man's wisdom. Liberty must be allowed to work out its natural results, and these will, ere long, astonish the world. Whatever the result may be, I shall carry to my grave the consciousness that I at least meant well for my country. The test of leadership is not to put greatness into humanity, but to elicit it, for the greatness is already there. I am a slow walker, but I never walk backwards. Nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power. Do I not destroy my enemies when I make them my friends? If you always support the correct principles, then you will never get the wrong results. The life of a republic lies certainly in the energy, virtue, and intelligence of its citizens. The goal to strive for is a poor government but a rich people. In every battle there comes a time when both sides consider themselves beaten, then he who continues the attack wins. The most confident critics are generally those who know the least about the matter criticized. Wars produce many stories of fiction, some of which are told until they are believed to be true. The bold enterprises are the successful ones. Take counsel of hopes rather than of fears to win in this business. It is a government of the people by the people for the people, no longer it is a government of corporations by corporations for corporations. To vote is like the payment of a debt, a duty never to be neglected, if its performance is possible. If wrinkles must be written on our brow, let them not be written on our heart. The spirit should never grow old. I mean to make myself a man, and if I succeed in that, I shall succeed in everything else. I mean to make myself a man, and if I succeed in that, I shall succeed in everything else. The truth will set you free, but first it will make you miserable. Experience has shown that the trade of the East is the key to national wealth and influence. If you are not too large for the place you occupy, you are too small for it. Men may die, but the fabrics of free institutions remains unshaken. A cause worth fighting for is worth fighting for to the end. It is no credit to me to do right. I am never under any temptation to do wrong. We will not forget that liberty has here made her home, nor shall her chosen altar be neglected. I pity the man who wants a coat so cheap that the man or woman who produces the cloth will starve in the process. I'd rather have a bullet inside of me than to be living in constant dread of one. That one flag encircles us with its folds today, the unrivaled object of our loyal love. Though the people support the government should not support the people. Office holders are the agents of the people, not their masters. The ship of democracy, which has weathered all storms, may sink through the mutiny of those aboard. Strong hearts and helpful hands are needed, and, fortunately, we have them in every part of our beloved country. The liberty to make our laws does not give us the freedom nor the license to break our laws. We cannot always do what is best, but we can do what is practical at the time. Do what you can, with what you have, where you are. The only man who never makes mistakes is the man who never does anything. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. The world is not going to be saved by legislation. Failure to accord credit to anyone for what he may have done is a great weakness in any man. We are all imperfect. We cannot expect perfect government. The ear of the leader must ring with the voices of the people. One cool judgment is worth 1,000 hasty counsels. The thing to do is to supply light and not heat. I would rather lose in a cause that will someday win, than win in a cause that will someday lose. The success of our popular government rests wholly upon the correct interpretation of the deliberate, intelligent, dependable popular will of America. I am not fit for this office and should never have been here. Our most dangerous tendency is to expect too much of government, and at the same time do for it too little. No person was ever honored for what he received. Honor has been the reward for what he gave. Don't expect to build up the weak by pulling down the strong. The nation which forgets its defenders will be itself forgotten. Words without actions are the assassins of idealism. Blessed are the young, for they shall inherit the national debt. Older men declare war. But it is the youth that must fight and die. This is preeminently the time to speak the truth, the whole truth, frankly and boldly. Industrial combination is not wrong in itself. The danger lies in taking government into partnership. Freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom from want, freedom from fear. It is amazing what you can accomplish if you do not care who gets the credit. There are always a lot of people so afraid of rocking the boat that they stop rowing. We can never get ahead that way. The only things worth learning are the things you learn after you know it all. Motivation is the art of getting people to do what you want them to do because they want to do it. A people that values its privileges above its principles soon loses both. In preparing for battle, I have always found that plans are useless, but planning is indispensable. One person can make a difference, and everyone should try. The hottest places in hell are reserved for those who, in times of great moral crisis, maintain their neutrality. Children are the world's most valuable resource and its best hope for the future. Yesterday is not ours to recover, but tomorrow is ours to win or lose. Better to have him inside the tent pissing out, than outside the tent pissing in. The guns and the bombs, the rockets and the warships, are all symbols of human failure. The man of thought who will not act is ineffective, the man of action who will not think is dangerous. The finest steel has to go through the hottest fire. I really believe life is simple. It's all the other people that make things complicated. Our Constitution works. Our great republic is a government of laws and not of men. Here, the people rule. Tell the truth, work hard, and come to dinner on time. Never be satisfied with less than your very best effort. If you strive for the top and miss, you'll still beat the pack. You can do what you have to do, and sometimes you can do it even better than you think you can. We become not a melting pot but a beautiful mosaic. Different people, different beliefs, different yearnings, different hopes, different dreams. We must adjust to changing times and still hold to unchanging principles. There are no great limits to growth because there are no limits of human intelligence, imagination, and wonder. Inflation is as violent as a mugger, as frightening as an armed robber, and as deadly as a hit man. I am not worried about the deficit. It is big enough to take care of itself. In crucial things, unity. In important things, diversity. In all things, generosity. Be bold in your caring, be bold in your dreaming, and above all else, always do your best. Think about every problem, every challenge we face. The solution to each starts with education. We all do better when we work together. Our differences do matter, but our common humanity matters more. If you live long enough, you'll make mistakes. But if you learn from them, you'll be a better person. People around the world have always been more impressed by the power of our example than by the example of our power. The thing that's important for me is to remember what's the most important thing. I have a different vision of leadership. A leadership is someone who brings people together. We look forward to hearing your vision, so we can more better do our job. That's what I'm telling you. If you're walking down the right path and you're willing to keep walking, eventually you'll make progress. The cynics may be the loudest voices, but I promise you they will accomplish the least. For the sake of our children and our future, we must do more to combat climate change. I think if this country gets any kinder or gentler, it's literally going to cease to exist. I never attacked him on his looks, and believe me, there's plenty of subject matter right there. I'm intelligent. Some people would say I'm very, very, very intelligent. Fighting corruption is not just good governance. It's self-defense. It's patriotism. The greatest gift is the ability to forget the bad things and focus on the good. Failure at some point in your life is inevitable, but giving up is unforgivable. Thanks for watching.